So this is more of a free-form video exploring a bit of a weird glitch I found in TAC, the Great Juju Challenge DS. This game, you can save just about anywhere. You can move around the pause menu using the D-pad, or you can select options with the touchscreen. Now saving, as you might imagine, lets you resume from exactly where you left off. This is really convenient. But saving has a couple little quirks. You can't save while you're in midair. The option's just not there, and pressing the D-pad just goes straight from continue to quit. You also can't save while you're swimming. Again, the D-pad just goes straight from continue to quit. But when the devs programmed this, they forgot to do one little thing. Remember how you can select with the touchscreen an option save? Well, in midair, or swimming, or any other situation where you can't normally save, the devs forgot to disable the touchscreen. So here I am selecting it. Listen carefully, you'll hear the little sound. I just selected save while I'm in midair. And I can save, and it works just fine. Now if I quit and reload, saving while in the air doesn't really do very much anything interesting. It just puts you right below where you were. That doesn't do anything here. But in the water, it does the same thing. It puts you right below where you were. But you aren't swimming when you reload. So I will quit here and reload. And you end up below where you were. I'm not swimming anymore. I'm running around underwater. The bottom here is solid. They didn't have to make this floor solid, and in some spots underwater they didn't make the floor solid. But here they did, which lets us walk around underwater, and when you jump you end up back on the surface. You can also stand on these little platforms. These are solid. If you save and reload, you'll end up on these little platforms. It's neat. It's not really too practical here, but in some scenarios you can do pretty interesting things with it. Here I will load a save state, which there it is. I will just perform a little skip here. This is advanced water drain skip. It's a pretty big skip. It saves quite a bit of time, but that's not the purpose of this video. These platforms here are moving. Moving platforms you can't save on, normally. But with this glitch, or rather I guess oversight's more accurate, you can. Now if you save on a moving platform, the results are different depending on which moving platform it is. In this case though, because there's no solid ground below where you are, the game puts you, I believe, at the origin. I don't have the technical knowledge to know exactly where the origin is in each map, but the game puts you in a weird spot. Right out of bounds. And you can reproduce this pretty easily. I exit, reload, and I'll be out of bounds again. Now, I've looked around in a few places to find anywhere that's useful, that this trick is useful. And I only found one spot where this is actually useful, but I don't think it's any faster. This here is the biggest room in the game. Normally, doing this room, you have to run over here, up through that tunnel where that boulder's coming from, hit a switch, go over here, and then you do lobster skip. But using this glitch, this room's big enough that you can save midair, reload, and instead of being out of bounds, you're high enough to not be out of bounds. So you can, and you get your double jump back. So you can reload, save, quit, reload, and make it here. Now by using another cycle of save and quit, you can get up here. You don't quite have enough height here, but the game, when you reload, puts you slightly above that position. So you can spam jump as you come in, and end up here. I've timed it roughly. This is a few seconds slower than just doing it normally. But maybe it could be optimized to take out one cycle of save and load, in which case this would be a few seconds faster. But this is the only spot I've found where it's useful. There are other spots here, this room attached here. This is where you're supposed to use the lobster suit, and you end up coming out here. Now, Tack can swim here, but the ground below is solid. So when I reload here, Tack will be underwater. But this isn't consistent. Some places you do this and you're just in the bottom of the level. This initially was my idea for lobster rock skip. Being able to just zip to the bottom of the water would have been fantastic. But unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way. Thankfully, there was another way. But this method I thought was the most promising. So you can walk around underwater and jump, dash, attack normally. Lobster lock, all you can do is walk slowly. This doesn't really help anywhere. It's just kind of a neat little thing. As a little extra, here's a preliminary version of Alligator Skip that didn't end up being used because I pretty quickly found a faster and easier method, but I still wanted to share. This is where you would normally perform Alligator Skip, with that annoying enemy just attacking. But this triangle here isn't solid. You can see at certain camera angles, it disappears. That triangle's not solid. So you can actually land in the water, which normally kills you. Or you can just fall out of bounds. As I was saying, this platform, that little wedge there, isn't solid. So you can land right out of bounds. And you're swimming. Now, I believe this is because the developers coded this little section of water here to not trigger the alligator out of bounds, because you will have to cross it. But you can carefully navigate a little seam where that alligator there doesn't jump you, and the alligator out of bounds doesn't attack you. But if you happen to touch the platform to my right here, you end up getting eaten. So you have to very carefully navigate here without going too far to the left or too far to the right. Just far enough so that you can jump up here and then get eaten because I wasn't quite far enough. But that's the gist of it. It didn't end up being used because it was actually slower and a lot more difficult and a lot more prone to error. Whereas the version 2, which is what you may be able to see on my channel, is a lot faster and a lot easier. Thanks for tuning in.